right? Decision tree activity. Right. Here, I'm using this activity, right? This is taken from my international textbook, but it's a very good activity. So I decided to take on this one. So Magna Charta example, the plane charter company, there's a 40% chance, say the airline, 40% chance that demand will be low in the first year. That means then 60% chance it will remain low thereafter. Right? Now don't confuse with the percentage. 40% chance that demand will be low. That means 60% chance that demand will be high in the first year. Right? When you're planning a particular decision, the probability low demand 40%, high demand 60%. 40-60 first year. Then the second year, there is a 60% chance it will remain low thereafter. Like this. Oh, don't be. Right. So just take first year, two scenarios. No, Year one. Year one, you can have high demand or low demand. High demand probability, 40% chance low demand, 60% chance high demand, 60% high. Yes. Right. Those who join online, you can hear me now.
Yes, sir.
Right. So now, just don't draw this diagram, right? I just want to explain the scenario. Later I will, because I just have put everything high, right? So then we'll adjust it. Now the first scenario in the first year, what it say, now first shall we read the entire question and then come to the diagram, right? There's a 40% chance demand will be low. That means 60% chance demand will be high. Then there's a 60% chance demand will remain low. When it is first year low, 40% chance is the first year low. Then the 60% chance, the second year also low. That means there's a 40% chance first year low and second year high. And this is very important thing that you have to identify here. First year low chance 40%. When the first year low, there's 60% chance second year also low. That means when the first year low, 40% chance, there is a second year high 40% chance, because first year low 40, then the second year also low 60. That means second year high with the first year low, second year high 40. Similarly, is the first year low, demand low, probability 40% means first year demand high, probability 60%. Then there's a 80% chance it will remain thereafter. That means it's the first year high, second year also high, there's a 80% chance. So there is a 20% chance first year high and second year low. Right? So you have to first get this idea. The kind of plane company should buy. So we have the two type of planes. So one is 550,000 cost, depreciate slowly. The other one, which much cheaper, 250,000 cost. Less capacity, less customer appeal, rapid depreciation. Could buy another second hand in a year for 150. So initially you have to spend 250 if you go for the second option, right? Then you need to buy another one for 250. First 250, then another one for 150 in the second year. So start out with one position plane and buy another if demand is high. Right. දැන් මෙතන තියෙනවා මේ payoff table එක summary එක. පළවෙනි plane එක 550,000 cost එක incur කරන එක. Right. 550,000 cost. You buy for 550,000 one. The demand high chance 60%, demand low chance 40%. That won't change. Right? First year. Then you are given the payoff, right? Say the NPV, right? Or the so there is 150 and 30. Then in the second year, there is a 80% chance if the demand high in the first year, second year also demand high 80% chance. So that is 0.8. The second year payoff is given 960. So there is a 20% chance first year demand high, second year demand low. There the payoff is 220. Then the first year low demand, and there's a 40% chance second year high demand. So then second year 930. With the first year low, second year low, there's a chance of 140. Right? මේ payoff table එක දීලා තියෙනවා ඔයාලට. Then the low budget one, this is initial 250,000 plane, piston engine one. Same first year 40% high demand probability, 40% low demand probability, 60%, 40%. The payoff is 150. Now relatively low, right? Then the second year also having high demand, 410, low for 180. Then low demand, first year low and second year high, 220 payoff, 100 payoff. With the second piston engine, ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට option එකක් තියෙනවා දෙවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ තව අලුත් එකක් ගන්න. ඒ අලුත් එකට යන්නේ අපි second year එකේ. එතකොට second year එකේ අලුත් එකට ගියාට පස්සේ demand එක high වුණොත් payoff 800,000, demand එක low වුණොත් payoff එක 100,000. Right? Right. දැන් අපි යමු diagram එකට. මේක මම ගන්නවා පළවෙනි machine එක 550 spend කරන එක. You can go ahead everything in 1000, no, right? So I'm go ahead in thousands, right? 550. මේ දෙවෙනි scenario එක 250. ඔය matches දෙකේ options දෙක තියෙනවා, right? මේක ලොකු decision tree එක, right? plane දෙකක් ගැන කතා කරනවා. පළවෙනි plane එකට යනවා නම් 550 spend කරලා යන්න පුළුවන්. දෙවෙනි එකට යනවා නම් 250 වලට යන්න පුළුවන්, right? පළවෙනි එක අපි යමු. පළවෙනි එකේ එන්න පුළුවන් high demand and low demand scenario එක පළවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ. right? පළවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ high එන්න තියෙන probability එක තමයි 60% නේ, 0.6. Because you are given here there is a 40% chance demand is low in the first year and 60% chance demand is high in the first year. එහෙනම් 40% chance for demand is low, 0.4 in the first year, right? First year high තිබිලා second year නැවත high වෙන්න 80% chance එකක් තියෙනවා. First year high වෙලා second year high වෙන්න 80% chance එකක් තියෙනවා. So it says there's a 80% chance that first year 60% chance to be high, 80% chance it will remain high thereafter. එහෙනම් මේක low වෙන්න තියෙනවා 20% chance එකක්. first year high තිබිලා second year low වෙන්න තියෙනවා 20% chance. දැන් අපිට pay off එක කියලා තියෙනවා. First year high and the second year high වුණොත් second year pay off එක එනවා 960. second year low වුණොත් pay off එක එනවා 220. $960 $220 දීලා තියෙනවා. මෙතන කීයක් තිබ්බද? first year high වුණොත් first year එකේ pay off එක තියෙනවා 150. demand එක low වුණොත් first year එකේ 30. Right? First year low වුණොත් second year high වෙන්න තියෙන probability එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. First year low, there's a 40% chance first year low. If the first year low, there's a 60% chance it will remain low thereafter. That means first year low and second year high, there's a 40% chance. Clear? 40% chance demand will be low in the first year, and there's a 60% chance it will remain low thereafter. That means in the second year, there's a 40% chance. When the first year low, second year high chance is 40%. Right? එනිසා මෙතන එනවා 40% chance එකක් demand එක high. එහෙනම් first year having the first year low demand, second year also low, we have a 60% chance. Right? 60% chance. එතනදී first year low වෙලා second year high වුණොත් pay off එක දීලා තියෙනවා 930 කියලා. First year low වෙලා second year low වුණොත් pay off එක දීලා තියෙනවා 140 කියලා. Right. Then If you take the second low budget piston engine one, 250 is the cost outflow. ඒකෙත් high low වෙන්න පුළුවන් chance එකක් තියෙනවනේ, high and low. So high probability 60%. Low probability 40%. Demand එක low වුණොත්, right? Second year එකේ high demand එක එන්න ආයෙ chance එකක් තියෙනවනේ 40%. First year high, first year low, second year නැවත low එන්න chance එකක් තියෙනවා. Second year නැවත high වෙන්න chance එකක් තියෙනවා 40%. කලින් විදිහම තමයි. First year low, second year high. ඒ වෙලාවට අපිට pay off එක දීලා තියෙනවා table එකේ. First year high තිබිලා second year low වුණොත් 180 pay off එකක් එනවා. Sorry, second year low තිබිලා first year high, right? Second year low තිබි. First year low තිබිලා second year high. This one, first year low, second year high 220. First year low, second year low 100. This one. First year low, second year also low. It's a 60% chance when the first year low, second year also low, 60% chance. Demand එක low වෙලාවට දෙවෙනි plane එකට යන්නේ නැහැ. අපිට කියනවා මෙන්න මෙතන the piston engine cost is 250, less capacity, less customer appeal, rapid depreciation. Could buy another second hand one in a year for 150. Start out with one plane and buy another if demand is still high. Right? Demand එක high නම් තමයි දෙවෙනි එකට යන්නේ. Right? ඒ කියන්නේ first year එක අරගත්තාම demand එක first year high demand එකක් තිබුණොත් විතරයි දෙවෙනි plane එකට යන්නේ. නිසා තමයි first year low demand තිබුණොත් ඒකෙම දෙවෙනි අවුරුද්ද high and low කියලා විතරයි අපි ගත්තේ. Right? අලුත් plane එකට යන කතාවක් නැහැ. First year high වලදී අලුත් plane එකක් දෙවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ තව plane එකක් ගන්නවනේ. Right? Expand 150. Do not expand. ඔය option දෙක අපිට තියෙනවා. Right? Expand or do not expand. Demand එක high වෙලාවට අපිට option එකක් තියෙනවා තව අලුත් plane එකකට යන්න. Could buy. Right? Could buy කියන්නේ ඒ වෙලාවෙත් නොගෙන ඉන්න chance එකක් තියෙනවා. මේක තව part දෙකකට බෙදුවා. එතනදී ආපහු high demand low demand එන්න පුළුවන්. එතනදී demand එක high වුණොත් 800ක් තියෙනවා. pay off එක low වුණොත් 100යි. Right? Right. Okay. Point එක මෙහා. Right. Now this is right. For the moment, just forget about the points, right? That is for the explanation purpose, right? Right. Now you have somebody here. If you spend 550,000, right? This is a more sophisticated plane, or you can have the low cost 250,000 plane. This high cost plane, after that we are considering 2 years, right? Just for 2 years. First year high demand, there is a 60% chance with 150 payoff. Second year, 40% chance of low demand with 30 in the first year payoff. First year high, second year high, 80% chance. First year high, second year low, 20% chance. You have to pay off. You can first have this diagram. This is the maximum that we can spend. Right? the exam එකට දැන් මේකේ මේ options දෙකක් තියෙනවනේ. exam එකට මොකක් වෙලාවට එකක් මේ කියන්නේ මේ එක පැත්තක තොරතුරු එන්න පුළුවන්. right? ඒ කියන්නේ මේකේ planes දෙකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකේ දෙවෙනි plane එකේ නැවත option එකක් තියෙනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයාලට smart exam එකකට එන්න පුළුවන් right මේ දෙවෙනි plane එක වගේ situation එක. right? ඒක ඇතුලේ නැවත option දෙකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් පළවෙනි අවස්ථාව වගේ ගත්තොත් ඒක more simple right 550 spend කරනවා first year high demand low demand second year high demand low demand that's it right එක්ක මේ 550 spend කරන එක විදිහට එහෙම නැත්නම් 250 මේ දෙකෙන් එකක් activity එකක් තමයි exam එකට එන්නේ right examination you will get an activity one of these two Okay. Right. දැන් අපිට මේ එක එක අවස්ථාවේදී NPV එක හොයන්න ඕනේ. right? දැන් අපි පළවෙනි අවස්ථාව ගමු 550 spend කරනවා. High demand probability in the first year 150, low demand 30. එතකොට right අපි ගමු මේක පළවෙනි දැන් මෙතන අපිට ඕනනම් අඳුර ගන්න පුළුවන්නේ scenarios පළවෙනි එක now when you take this high cost plane 550 first year high demand 150 and 60% chance second year high demand 80% chance. And second year low demand 20% chance. Right. Now when it's come to this දැන් පළවෙනි එකේ නම් quite straightforward නේ. මේකේ අතරමැද නැවත spending එකක් නැහැ. දෙවෙනි එකේ 250 spend කරාම first year 100 high demand එකක් තියෙනවනේ. 60%. මේ high demand තියෙද්දි point A වලදී ඒ කියන්නේ අපි මේක expand කරනවා. right? මෙතනදී decision එකක් ගන්නවා expand කරනවද expand කරන්නේ නැද්ද කියලා. ඒතර expand කරොත් 150 spend කරනවා. This 150 spend at year 1. Year 1 means end of year 1, right? This 250 year 0, right? This 100 payoff in the year 1, 50 year 1. Now end of the year 1, you have to decide whether we expand this by purchasing another plane, right? Those who join late, right? You have to first take the question scenario. Now I'm taking the low cost plane, 250,000 first year you spend. So which rapidly depreciate and could buy another one in the second year 1, end of the year 1, by spending another 150. Right? Now we are referring to that scenario. So in that case, we take probability of high demand and payoff with high demand. plus probability of low demand and probability of low demand. Payoff of low demand. ඒ කියන්නේ 800 ලැබෙන්න 80ක chance එකක් තියෙනවා. 100 ලැබෙන්න 20ක chance එකක් තියෙනවා. මෙතන. එන්න මේ අවස්ථාව. 800 ලැබෙන්න 80යි 100 ලැබෙන්න 20යි. මේක net off කරාම මෙතන තියෙනවනේ total 660 තියෙනවා. Right? Second year you are going to receive 660. Is that clear? 800 into 80%, 100 into 20%. Right? 800 into 80%, 640, 100 into 20%, 20. So the total expected value is 660. 660. 660 in the year 1. Right? Year 2, sorry. Year 2 and 660. 660 in year 2. This is the second year. Then, අපි මේක අපි හිතමු මේ discount rate එක 10යි කියලා. ඒක අවුරුද්දක් ගේනවා discount කරනවා. Year 2 එක end of year 1 වලට ගේනවා. Then 660 divided by 1.1. Right? 660 divided by 1.1. Is 600. Right? 660 received in the year 2, discount and take it to end of year 1, it is 600. And year 1, we have to spend 150. Right? So the net amount is 450 now. End of the year 1. Clear? Bring it to 450. කියන්නේ අපි මෙන්න මේ scenario එක මෙන්න මෙතනට එන net value එක ගත්තා. Right? මෙතන එනවා 660. 660 take 1 divide by 1.1, it is 600. Then here minus 150. So it is 450 here. Right? NPV එක 450 කියලා ගන්නකො. 450. ඊළඟට අපි මේක do not expand කරොත්. You do not expand. Then it is 410 80%, 180 20%. Right? How much? 410 80%, 180 20%. 410 into 80% plus 180 into 20%. Sorry. So 80 into 80% plus 180 into making calculating ගන්න බෑ. මේක ඇඩ් වෙලානේ ඉන්නේ. Right? මේක අපිට ගන්න 410 into 80%, 180 into 20%. So year 2 value is 364. Right? Then 364, you discount for 1 year. We assume the discount rate 10% here. So 360, outflow එකක් නැහැ. Right? We do not expand. So we are not by the second plane. Then 364 divided by 1.1, their net value is 331. Clear? 331. Right. Right. එතකොට දැන් මෙතනට ආව කීයක්ද 450. Right. මෙතනට ආව 450. මෙතනට ආව 333. Right. මෙතන net amount එක. Clear? Right. එතකොට මෙතනට ආවනේ 450. ඊළඟට මෙතන ආව 450. Right. අපිට පෙන්නුවොත් මෙතන net එක ආව 450. ආව 100. මේ ඇත්තටම මේ year 2 එක year 1 අවසානයේ ගෙනාවහමයි. Not 100. 331. Do not expand උනොත් මෙතනට 331 ආවා. expand කරොත් 450 කියලා ආවා. Is that clear? Right? මේ year 2 එක year 1 වලට ගෙනල්ලා. දැන් year 1 වල high demand තිබ්බොත් අපිට 100ක් එනවා year 1 වල. Right? year 1 වල high demand ආවොත් 100යි. year 2 වල මේ full scenario එක net කරලා discount කරලා 450 ආවා. Right? එහෙනම් all together මෙතන අපිට හදන්න පුළුවන් 550 කියන්නේ. Is that clear? $550. right? ඊට පස්සේ මේ branch එක ගත්තොත් දැන් මේ අපි කියන්නේ expand කරනවා කියන situation එක, right? do not expand කියන scenario දෙකක් නේ. අපි හිතනවා right. අපි second year එකේ 150 දීලා අලුත් plane එකක් ගන්නවා කියන scenario එක ගත්තොත්. එතකොට මෙතන 450 plus 100 එතන එනවා 550 net. මෙතන කොහමද? මේකේ මේ 100 ආවේ high probability 60% high demand. පළවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ low demand එන්න chance එකකුත් තියෙනවනේ. අලුත් right? මේක invest කරාම පළවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ low demand ආවා. පළවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ low demand ආවොත් අපි යන්නේ නැහැ අලුත් plane එක. Right? Then the second year you can have 220 with 40%, 100 with 60%. එහෙනම් අපිට පුළුවන් this right. Then now this is now you can take 550 in the first year, net amount 550, this 450. Right. So here, if you invest for 250 and buy this low budget plane, and there's a 40% chance that there will be a low demand. If the first year low demand, second year high demand, we have here 220, 100. 220 40%, 100 60%. Right? ඒක අපිට net කරන්න පුළුවන්. 220 40%, 100 60%. Right? Then divide it by 1.1. You can bring it into end of the year 1. Right? So ඒකට එකතු කරන්න ඕනේ year 1 වල 50. You are getting 135. Sorry, මෙතන 135 plus 50 185. Then 550, 60% chance. And 185, 40% chance. High demand at the 60%. Low demand 40%. Right? Either 550, 60%, low demand 40%. ඕක වැඩි කරාම expected value එක එනවා අපිට. ඒක 1.1 වලින් ගත්තාම year 1 එක year 0 වලට ගේනවා. එතකොට ඒකෙන් -250 ගියාම අපිට එනවා NPV එක මේ buying first plane engine the first piston engine ඒ කියන්නේ low budget plane එක අරගෙන දෙවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ expand කරනවා කියන option එකට ගියොත් අපිට එනවා NPV එක 117,000. Right? Clear? ඒක simplify කරන්න පුළුවන් විතරම දැන් මේ කියන්නේ year 0 year 1 year 2 right year 0 වල 250 spend කරාම අපිට එන්න පුළුවන් high demand low demand high demand එකේ probability එක 0.6 low demand එකේ 0.4 right high demand එකේ year 1 වල අපි නැවත 150 spend කරනවා. සහ year 1 එක අවසානයේ අපිට තියෙනවා outcome එකක් තියෙනවනේ. year 1 එක අවසානයේ 100ක outcome එකක් තියෙනවා. right 100ක income එකක් තියෙනවා year 1 එක. 100ක් තියෙනවා. positive money. මෙතන 50 නේ. right ඊට පස්සේ right මෙතන 250 ලියලා දාන්න. then we go for the new plane expansion option right ඊට පස්සේ එතනත් අපිට ආපහු වෙනවා high and low. high low first year high was second year high වෙන්න තියෙන probability එක 0.8 low වෙන්න තියෙන probability එක 0.2 right ඊට පස්සේ මෙතනත් නැවත තියෙනවා first year low second year high වෙන්න තියෙනවා first year low second year high probability is 0.6 because low first year low second year low වෙන්න තියෙන්නේ නැහැ 0.4 first year low වෙලා second year low වෙන්න තියෙන probability එක 0.6 right ඊට පස්සේ year 2 එකේ මෙතන එනවා 800යි 100යි මෙතන එනවා 220 100 then NPV variance discounting factor 10%. right? මෙච්චරයි කියන scenario. right? අපි plane දෙකයි දෙකට එක ගන්නවා නේ ඔය ඔක්කොම full scenario එකේ අපි ගත්ත එක අවස්ථාව. right? example එකක් කරලා මෙන්න මේ වගේ එක scenario එකක් එනවා. right? දැන් කොහොමද එන්නේ මෙතන 800 100ට year 2 වල value එක බලන්න වෙන්නේ 800 into 80% plus 100 into 20%. right? එතන මේ දෙකෙන් net amount එක මෙතන එනවා 660 year 2. right? On probability kind of 800, there's a 20%, 80% probability to receive 800, 20% probability to receive 100. right? 800, මෙතන තියෙනවා 800 in 80% probability, 100 into 20% probability. එතන මෙතන එනවා 660. මේ scenario එක අදාළ නැහැ අපිට. මේ ගන්න නැහැ කියන දන්නේ. මෙතන low demand ආවොත් 200 into 40%, 100 into 60%. කීයද? Two 220, sorry. 220 into 40%. Clear enough? How much? 148. 148. right? දැන් මේක ගේන්න ඕනේ present value. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් නම් කරේ කෙලින්ම මේක අවුරුදු 0 වලට ගෙනාවා. දැන් මේකේ distance tree එකේ කරලා තියෙන්නේ right. You break this into here. මොකද කරන්නේ මේක බෙදනවා 1.10. මේක ගේනවා මෙතන. බෙදනවා 1.10. here මෙතන එනවා 600. මෙතන එනවා 148 divided by 1.1. Right. Right. And all together, year 1 got a net amount in the year. $185. Right. මේ 550 කියනවා year 0 වලට 1.1 වලින් බෙදලා. මේ 185 කියනවා year 0 වලට 1.1. $550 divided by 1.1. How much? 500. 185. Sorry. 550 ගන්න බෑ. මේ දෙක වෙන වෙනම ගන්න බෑ අප්පා. දැන් මොකද කරන්නේ? 550 එන්න තියෙනවා 60% chance. 135 එන්න තියෙනවා 40% chance. right? මෙතනට ගෙනාවහම මෙතන එනවානේ මේ දෙක ඇඩ් කරාම මෙතන ආව 550. මෙතන ආව 135 185. 550 into 60%. 185 into 40%. 550 into 60% plus 185 into 40%. මේක net එක කීයද? මේ දෙක එකතු කරා. And multiply with the properly. Then how much? 550 to 60%, 185 to 40%. $404. දැන් මේ මුළු සිනාරියෝ එකේම මේ දක්වා year 1 වලට net එක මේක ගේන්න ඕන year 0. 404 divided by 1.1. right? මේ ටික net කරාම ඔක්කොම මෙතනට එනවා 404. ඒක year 0 වලට ගේනවා. 404 divided by 1.1. How much? $366, 67. So you get the entry. 170. So this project is worthwhile because we have positive NP. Right? Clear? කාට හරි ඕනනම් මේක මේ ස්ටෙප් දෙකට යන්නේ නැතුව මෙන්න මේ වැලියුස් ටික හොයාගන්න 660යි බෑ ස්ටෙප් දෙකට යන්න බෑ මොකද මේ probability එක වෙනස් වෙනවා මොකද මේක මෙතනට ගෙනල්ලා මේ දෙක ආපහු ඩිස්කවුන්ට් කරන්න right ස්ටෙප් දෙකටම යන්න right එකවරම 0 වලට ගිහිල්ලා බෑ because it's a Venn diagram right so it's a decision tree where you have these different points, different probabilities. Risk and uncertainty යටතේ අපි කතා කරන last part එක තමයි මේ right අනිත් areas ටික පුංචි areas ටික අපි කතා කරා those covered from your assignment. Right. So the remaining time I will allocate for kind of revision, right? So in examination, you will get a decision tree question for 10 marks, right? Very similar to one what we discussed here, right? Not the full decision tree with several options, right? ඒක option එකක්. ඒක ඇතුලේ high low මේ විදිහටම අවුරුදු දෙකකට. You have to draw the decision tree and calculate the NPV and comment whether project is worthwhile or not. 10 marks, right? මම මෙතන areas ටික ඉස්සර වෙලා note කරන්න. එතකොට මේ areas ටික mix වෙලා ලකුණු 100 paper එක හැදෙන්නේ, right? Right. So we'll start with now here we have the link for individual assignment, right? එක අද deadline එක, right? Midnight, right? රෑ 12 වෙනකන් තියෙනවා, right? Individual assignment link for uploading the individual assignment. And next week we have the group presentation, right? Presentation එකත් කලින් දවසේ upload කරන්න, right? එදා උදේ ඇවිල්ලා presentation එක හදන්න තියාගන්න බෑ, right? Presentation එකේ link එකක් තියෙනවා. PowerPoint එක upload කරන්න ඕන LMS එකට. එතකොට අපි presentation එක 29th 28 midnight වෙනකොට presentation එක upload කරනවා. ඒ ටික තමයි මෙතන present කරන්න කියන්නේ. right? ආයේ පොඩි modification කරා උදේ ඇවිල්ලා ඒව කරාට ඒව present කරන්න වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා you have to finalize it prior to the midnight of 28, right? Sunday morning නේ තියෙන්නේ. Saturday night එකේදී වෙද්දි PowerPoint එක finalize කරන්න. මොකද සමහර අය නැත්තම් මේ presentation යනකොට තමයි අනිත් groups presentation හදන්නේ, right? So can't accept that. And very important about this guideline, මේක මම නිතර කොච්චර කිව්වා සමහර අයට මේක පැහැදිලි නෑ. මේ now you have the topic, then the group members order of the presentation. එතකොට මෙතන එක්කෙනෙක්ගේ නම එකපාරයි එන්න ඕනේ, right? දෙතුන් වතාවක් එන්න බෑ. මොකද ඒක මාකින් වලට අමාරුයි, right? මම ඔය order එකට තමයි ලකුණු allocate කරන්නේ. individual allocation එකක් තියෙනවා. වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක් individual, right? ඒ නිසා තමන් කර දැන් පළවෙනිය present කරන කෙනා ආයි මැද්දේ එන්න එහෙම හදාගන්න එපා, right? ඒ නිසා තමයි මම කියන්නේ දැන් මේ introduction part එක නන් ටික කියනකොට ඒකට ලකුණු දෙන්නේ නැහැ නේ. ඒකේ slide number එක දාන්න තියෙන්නේ 4 වල ඉඳලා. මොකද first slide topic, you can show the first presenter, just you can show this is our topic, right? You can say the topic, and these are the group members, that's it, right? And this is our content. And you start with slide 4, your content, right? එකේට විනාඩි 4ක් වගේ තියෙන්නේ නේ, right? හරියටම timing බලන්න වෙනවා. මොකද පැය 4 නැත්නම් අපලා lunch break එකක් නැති වෙලා, right? ඒකට වඩා යන්න පුළුවන්. සහ group number 1 or any other group පුළුවන් නම් පොඩ්ඩක් 8 විතර වෙද්දී ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්න. මොකද අපිට කලින් මම 8 වෙද්දී එන්න, right? මොකද අපිට group තියෙනවා 8ක් විතරනේ, right? 8ක් හෝ 9ක් විතර තියෙනවනේ. ඒ නිසා මේ concentration. Here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 groups තියෙනවා, right? එතන සමහර group වල 8 members උත් ඉන්නවා, right? 8 members, 7 members, 6 member ඒ වගේ groups තියෙනවා, right? එතන 8 member ඉන්නකොට විනාඩි 30ක් 35ක් විතර ඒ group එකට ගන්න වෙනවා, right? 7 member එකට 30ක්, 6 member එකට 25ක් වගේ. 5 members got 20 minutes, 4 members, yes, little above 15, right? Less than 20 minutes you have to manage, right? Right. Okay, so then we'll take this activity-based costing topic. Right. The activity-based costing, well, what is activity-based costing? And we discuss some activity-based costing. Basically, you have to identify the cost driver, appropriate cost driver, and absorb cost according to the cost driver. So make it up activities, classroom activity. Where is that activity? Classroom activity. This one. Yeah, there's a question, right? So you should be able to work out these activity-based costing activity. Right? You will not be tested the traditional absorption, right? Traditional absorption එක අපි පන්තියේ කතා කරා මොකද මේ වෙනස පැහැදිලි කරන්න. But examination context, traditional absorption costing එක ඔයාලට අපි તો එකම scenario එකේ traditional absorption costing වල values දීලා activity based costing වල calculate කරලා ඒ දෙක අතර වෙනස අඳුන ගන්න. ඇයි මේ වෙනස වෙන්නේ කොහොමද හොඳ ඔය වගේ අර activity based costing you will be tested for 10 marks. I will take it activity based costing and activity based management. ABM, you should know the basically what is ABM, right? ඒකේ ලොකුවට දෙයක් නැහැ. ABM කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියන එක දැනුවත් වෙන්න ඕන. Right? You should be able to briefly explain what is activity based management, right? Use of the activity based costing, right? Application of activity based costing for the operational management, right? Make operational and strategic වෙන්න පුළුවන්, right? Mostly operational level, right? කොහොමද activity based management පාවිච්චි කරනවද? ඒතර ලකුණු 10යි. Then we had strategic cost management. right? So, strategic cost management. Under that, we discuss about strategic positioning, cost driver analysis, value chain analysis, 3 areas. එතනදී මුලින්ම කතා කරා traditional cost management, how the traditional cost management deviate from strategic cost management, right? Traditional cost management, there are some limitations. Traditional cost management having the short-term focus, right? Mainly focus on cost reduction and ignore about the dynamic marketing and economics, right? External, ignore about the competition, customer requirement, slow, mainly focus on cost reduction and limited focus on review and improvisation, short term, and it is reactive approach, right? You identify the issues and then you react. But when it comes to strategic, these limitation of traditional cost management, we can overcome with the strategic cost management. The strategic cost management එකේදී අපි බලන්නේ අර කොහොමද cost management business එකේ strategic decision making level එකට business strategy එකට relate කරන්නේ. Right? එතනදී අපි කතා කරා general 3 generic strategies like cost leadership, product differentiation, focus. You learn this in strategic management, right? What is cost leadership? What is product differentiation? Cost leadership. Now you try to give the better value to customer at the lower cost, right? The lower cost, better value, value for money. Differentiation, you create more value to customer, increasing the customer value. And there you may charge a premium price also, differentiated price, because customer value your product, the features, right? So customer willing to pay some additional amount for that. The focus strategy, basically focus differentiation and focus cost leadership. අර දෙකම තමයි. ඒක අපිට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් niche එකකට, right? Not in general, right? එතකොට අපි ගන්නවා focus. එතකොට product differentiation and cost leadership ගත්තාම මේ දෙකේ වෙනස, role of product cost in assessing the performance. Product cost is not important, not very important for product differentiation, because you can incur more cost but you can charge more price, right? So cost, role of the product cost in assessing performance එක measure කරද්දී cost එක වැදගත් නැහැ. But cost leadership එකේදී cost එක control කිරීම තමයි main focus එක වෙන්නේ. So the role of product in assessing the performance is very important. The flexible budget for cost control. Importance of the flexible budgeting for cost control. Again, product differentiation moderate or low level, but cost leadership is very high. The perceived importance of meeting the budget. Budget එක meet කරන එක differentiation වල not very important, because sometimes you may incur additional cost exceeding the budget, but you are creating some value to the customer. So as a result, you will be able to charge a premium price. Right? අපට අපි budget නොකරපු අලුත් technological improvement එකක් අවුරුද්ද ඇතුලේ තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ feature එක දාලා පාඩු පුළුවන් product එක market කරන්න. right? Now, mobile phone වගේ industry එකක් ගත්තොත් technologically advancement ඒගොල්ලෝ ගිය අවුරුද්දේ budget නොකරපු සමහර features products වලට එනවා, right? එතකොට budget එක exceed වෙන්න පුළුවන්. But cost leadership, it is very important, right? Importance of marketing cost analysis. Differentiation again, the marketing cost analysis is important because you have to create the market. You can incur additional cost and create some value to the customer, but you should be able to position your product in the customer mind and create the demand. It's a marketing cost analysis එක වැදගත්. But cost leadership එකේදී marketing එච්චර වැදගත් නැහැ, right? Not very formal. Then the importance of the product cost as an input of pricing decision. Pricing decision එක product cost එක ලොකුවට වැදගත් නැහැ. Product differentiation, it is the value, perceived value of the customer. That is why sometimes if you can make a small improvement, right? With that small improvement, if you can have a very high created value to the customer, you will be able to charge a premium price, right? Differentiate product. Once you create a brand, sometimes people will need to pay for the brand, right? Because your product is differentiated. But in the cost leadership, pricing decision highly affected by the cost, right? Cost එකට margin එකක් තියාන තමයි price කරන්නේ. ඒ නිසා cost එක අඩු කරපුවාම අපිට price එක අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතනින් තමයි අපි advantage එක ගන්න යන්නේ, competitive advantage. Then importance of the competitor cost analysis. Product differentiation, we are not worried about the competitor's cost, right? Because it is purely the value, how much value you create to the customer, right? Your product is different from the others competitors, right? So you are focusing on, are we going to position our first value in the customer's mind? Customer also value our product, so they are willing to pay high price. Doesn't matter. But in the cost leadership, it is very important how the competitors cost. So the cost එක මත තමයි price එක තීරණය වෙන්නේ. ඒක තමයි අපිට competitive advantage එක දෙන්නේ. So if a competitor can produce the same product at a lower price, so then they will supply the product at a lower cost. So that will affect our demand, right? You have to very important, right, to consider about competitors' price. Here you see some differences between traditional cost management and strategic cost management, right? මේක සෑහෙන වැදගත් මේ traditional and strategic cost management වල තියෙන main differences ටික, right? The strategic cost management, strategic positioning, analysis, cost leadership, cost drive analysis, and value chain. What is strategic positioning? What is cost drive analysis? Cost drive analysis, two parts: structural cost drivers and organizational cost drivers. Then the value chain, මේක අපි වෙන තැන්වල කතා කරලා තියෙනවා, right? Value chain එකේ primary activities and supportive activities. අපිට පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ මොකක් හරි business එකකට මේ value chain එක draw කරන්න කිව්වොත් පොඩි විස්තරයක් දීලා, right? General විස්තරයක් දීලා draw the value chain including the primary activities and supportive activities. මොකක් හරි manufacturing business එකක් දුන්නොත් අපිට තියෙනවා inbound logistics. garment factory එකක් කියන්නකො, right? Inbound logistics, raw material handling, right? And the warehouse handling. Then the operations, manufacturing part, right? Manufacturing the garment item. Outbound logistics කියන්නේ finished goods ටික store කරන එක ඉදලා distribute කරන එක. Marketing and sales, the demand creation part, sales promotion. Service means after sales services. Here are supportive activities, firm infrastructure, human resource, technology procurement. The raw material business එකට එන අවස්ථාව දක්වා. ඊට අමතරව දැන් procurement කිව්වහම that include even other purchase of fixed asset also procurement, right? Machinery, suppliers, ඒවා procurement. ඒක වෙනම part එකක්. R&D එක, right? Product improvement, technological improvement, ඒක supportive activity. HR supportive activity එක. Infrastructure supportive activity. Right. මෙතනත් 5 forces model එක ගැන අපි කතා කරා. Core competency analysis, segmentation, right? මේක ටිකක් content එකක් තියෙනවා. right? Theory area එකක් තියෙනවා. So strategic cost management. You will get a 15 marks question. You tested for 15 marks. Strategic cost management for 15 marks. Okay, so we'll get a short break and continue the remaining part after the break. Right. Right. So we will continue our discussion. Right. So then we had the performance measurement and transfer pricing. Right. Performance measurement and transfer pricing that continue for 2 weeks actually. I think this is the largest area that we discuss. It has 2 areas. One is performance, divisional performance, other one transfer pricing. Take a little time to share the screen. Okay. So first of all, you should know this, the different responsibility centers. There are 4 types of responsibility centers: cost center, revenue center, profit center, and investment center. So the different centers, the management are responsible for different areas. Now, cost center management responsible for only the cost. Revenue center management responsible only for the revenue. Profit center management, the managers of a profit center, they are responsible for the profit. Profit means both cost and revenue. But here the controllable profit, right? Some of the cost and revenue may not be controlled by the manager. So the managers are responsible for the controllable profit. To take into consideration controllable part. Investment center, managers are responsible for both cost and revenue, that is profit, as well as asset. So you have to calculate relative to the asset, the profit. The investment center. So cost center managers accountable only for the cost. Revenue center managers are accountable only for the revenue. Profit center managers are responsible for both revenue and the cost. Investment center management are responsible not only for the profit. Profit means revenue and cost, plus working capital and the capital investment assets. The cost center එකදී අපිට mainly බලන්න වෙන්නේ cost comparison, budgeted and the actual. Right. The financial, when you evaluate the performance, you have to consider budgeted cost and the actual cost incurred. But again, cost may not be conclusive because sometimes you have to incur high cost to provide the service. Especially now if you take the customer focus, you are providing some kind of customer service, after-sale service. So if you try to minimize the cost, you may not be providing the required level of service to the customer, so the customer satisfaction may be less. So you have to consider non-financial measurement also when you are evaluating the performance. So you cannot purely decide based on the low cost center. If a particular manager, right, per customer serving, the cost is low. But at the same time, if you can maintain the low cost with the high level of customer satisfaction, then it is okay. You can reduce the cost while reducing low level of service, by providing low level of service to the customer. So then that reduce the customer satisfaction. Right? Then it will take more time to provide service for one customer. You are allocating lesser number of staff to reduce the cost. Right? ඒ වගේ වුණොත් ඒක සාර්ථක නැහැ. ඒ නිසා financial as well as non-financial measures we use. Revenue center එකේදී basically revenue. Higher the revenue is better. Right? හැබැයි එතනදී සමහර වෙලාවට revenue එක එතනදී අපිට බලන්න වෙන්නේ basically financial terms revenue. Right? මෙතනදී බලන්න වෙනවා your effort to generate the revenue, the percentage of whole, percentage of sales personnel access, right, to a customer, right? ඒ කොච්චර sales create වෙනවද වගේ. Practical හුඟක් වෙලාවට තියෙන්නේ most of the responsibility centers are profit centers, revenue centers හරි අඩුයි, where the managers are responsible for both revenue and the cost. The profit center එක basically අපිට revenue related measurement ගන්න පුළුවන් GPM, operating profit, net profit margin වගේ normal ratios. Relative to the sales, what is the profit? හැබැයි එතනදී profit එක ගන්න ඕනේ controllable profit. Right? Cost and revenue should be considered based on controllable. Then investment center customers, the investment center manager responsible for profit as well as the investment asset. So we can use the measurement like return on investment, most popular one, ROI, for the profit and asset, both take into consideration. The residual income, for the investment you deduct some capital charges and economic value added. So all these scenarios, when you are measuring the performance of a responsibility center manager, you have to consider about the controllability, the relevant revenue, cost or asset come under the controllability of the particular manager. Right? The manager control කරන්න බැරි income, expenses, assets. තියෙනවා නම් ඒක ignore කරන්න ඕන මේ calculations වල. The managerial performance we can measure using not moving. Here we had an activity where that in a profit center, right, managers are given a bonus based on a particular profit margin, and you were given how that profit is calculated: revenue, cost of sales, gross profit, depreciation, allocation of overhead, other overhead. එතකොට යාගේ sales එක 2000, net profit 100. So net profit margin, calculated net profit margin 5.5. Manager is entitled for the bonus only meet the 7%. So that according to the current scenario, the manager is not entitled, but manager is complaining that this is not appropriate calculation, right? අපිට බලන්න පුළුවන් මේක appropriate නෑ කියන්නේ here you have taken the net profit. මේක ඇතුලේ uncontrollable revenue and uncontrollable cost දෙකම අරන් තියෙනවා, right? Revenue you were given they export the product at beginning of the final quarter. The exchange rate has reduced by 8%. The exchange rate එක depreciate වුණාම තමන්ගේ currency එකෙන් එන value එක වැඩි වෙනවා. That will increase the revenue. So when you assume the sales occurred evenly throughout the year, right? එතකොට last quarter එකේ 500 ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා revenue එක. හැබැයි 500 ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ මේ 108ක රුපී නම් ලංකාවේ සල්ලි ගත්ත රුපියක depreciate වෙලා. මේක තියෙන dollars, ඒක dollar එක depreciate වෙලා. So you can divide 500 by 1.08. So the real revenue is 463. There is a 37 exchange loss, exchange gain because of the currency depreciation. That is uncontrollable. In a hurry, revenue එක ගන්න ඕනේ 500 into 3 plus 463. එහෙම නැත්නම් 2000 minus 37. Right? 1163 is the correct revenue. Profit එක 110 මේක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා allocated office overhead. Office overhead allocated. The office overhead allocate කරපු එක මේගොල්ලන්ට control කරන්න බෑ. ඒ වගේම depreciation based on the asset, right? In a profit center, managers are not responsible for the asset. ඒ කියන්නේ manager control එකක් නෑ asset වලට. අපි දමු supermarket එකක් තියෙනවා, you are using the building and the equipment, those are purchased by the head office, right? So you depreciate them. That the manager has no control over that. So you have to add back to the profit depreciation add back කරන්න ඕනේ. ඊළඟට allocated overhead add back කරන්න ඕනේ. ඊළඟට මේ profit එක ඇතුළේ අර 37 තියෙනවා exchange gain එක, ඒකත් ඒක අඩු කරන්න ඕනේ. So your controllable net profit is 263. Controllable revenue is 1963. So the controllable profit margin is 13.4. So this manager is entitled for the bonus, right? But if you just go ahead with the nominal profit divided by revenue, net profit margin is 5.5. Since the manager entitled for 7% profit margin, according to the normal calculation, it is 5.5. So manager is not entitled. But the correct calculation, right? Manager is entitled. So වගේ පොඩි activity එකක් අපිට පුළුවන් වෙන ඕන calculate කරලා පෙන්නන්න, right? But ROI, return on investment, this is for an investment center. A controllable divisional profit divided by divisional investment. Right? Controllable divisional profit එකෙන් residual income හොයද්දී imputed interest එක අඩු කරනවා. What is imputed interest කියන්නේ for the investment? It's like opportunity cost of investment, right? Multiplied by the cost of capital, right? A divisional profit එකෙන් අපි අඩු කරනවා මේ finance source එකට ගිය capital එක, right? Because they are responsible for the resources. It's a residual income එක එනවා. එතකොට මේ resources වලට opportunity cost එක අයින් කරන එක මේ කරන්නේ. Imputed interest to get the residual income. Then economic value added. Economic value added, you take the net operating profit after tax less the capital charges. The net operating profit after tax. ඔයත්දී approaches දෙකක් තියෙනවා. අපි මේකේ පළවෙනි approach එක use කරේ. මයිටි කමක් දෙයි. You take the profit after tax. අපිට මොකද after tax profit එක තියෙනවනේ. When you have the after tax profit, you can add back the goodwill amortized, research and development and advertising, any non-cash expenditure like provision and the depreciation. Then මොකද මේවා value added, then depreciation වගේ ඒවා non-cash. Operating profit එකේදී අපි ඒක add back කරනවා. R&D and advertising we consider as a value creating expenses, right? So economic value added concept එකේදී we are adding them back. We don't deduct it. We think මේ accounting profit එකේදී මේක අඩු කරාට මොකද actually advertising and R&D create value. That is important. Advertising important to create the demand, positioning your product in customers' mind. R&D improve the product features, right? You can have some innovation, improvement of the product. So all that will create some value. And so එකත් add back කරනවා. අනිත් ඒවා non cash, amortization, depreciation, provision වගේ. Right? ඊට අමතරව අපි වෙනම capital charges එක අඩු කරන නිසා profit එක ඇතුලේ තියෙන interest එක add back කරනවා. Right? මේ ටික ඔක්කොම add back කරනවා. එතකොට අපිට නෝ net operating profit after tax. මේ net operating profit after tax ඒකෙන් අඩු කරන්න ඕනේ capital charges. Capital charges ආපහු weighted average cost of capital rate එක multiplied by net asset at the start of the period. අවුරුද්ද මුල net asset ප්‍රමාණය. Right? අවුරුද්ද මුල equity එකට අපි average cost of capital එකෙන් වැඩි කරනවා. Right? අතන ඒ වගේ activity එකකුත් අපි හැදුවා. You can work out, go through these activities. එතකොට අපි ගත්තොත් divisional performance කියන එක isolately ගත්තොත් divisional performance වලින්වත් පුර 15ක question එකක් අහන්න පුළුවන්. Then we can move to the transfer pricing. First of all, you should know the concept of transfer pricing, right? So transfer pricing is applicable when within the organization, products are transferred to one division to another division. The transfer pricing important for several reasons. So if you don't charge a transfer price, one thing is you can't measure the performance of the different divisions properly. The other one is if you transfer at cost, then that will have a demotivative factor for the certain divisional managers, right? Their contribution will not be considered. For the control purpose, interdivisional transfer pricing should be used. Performance measurement will transfer pricing that on the motivation of the managers, right? So අවසානයේ organization එකේ goal confluence to achieve the maximization of the shareholders' wealth, right? So you need to have a transfer pricing. ඊළඟට transfer price එක set කරද්දී allow managers some reasonable level of autonomy, right? An example එකක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට right S division can supply the component to the R division, and S division has an external market. You can sell it into external market. R also can buy this component from outside, right? So here, when you are setting the transfer price, you have to consider the external selling price of S, same component, as well as purchase price of R, right? So ඔය දෙක අතරමැද price එකක් නම් much better. හැබැයි එතනදී අපි බලන්න ඕන right මේකේ spare capacity තියෙනවද, are we using the full capacity, right? Whether they have unlimited demand for the S or unlimited demand for this external market. ඒ අනුව මේ price එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. Minimum transfer price, right? අපි ඒ වගේ activities කීපයක් කතා කරා, right? The transfer price එකේ cost plus transfer price එකක් use කරන්න පුළුවන්. cost එකට markup එකක් add කරලා. ඊළඟට market approach based on the market price transfer price එක set කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඊළඟට opportunity cost approach, right? Opportunity cost එක අදාළ වෙන්නේ right marginal cost of the selling division plus the opportunity cost. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් additional cost එකක් මේ selling division එකට යන cost එකට especially when you are operating the full capacity, right? You are utilizing some of the resources. There may be opportunity cost when you are producing this product and transfer to the other division. Or if you can sell this into the outside market, right? When you are transferring, you are losing the contribution. Take into consideration. So we had few activities regarding the transfer pricing. Right. Right. මෙන්න මේ example එකකින් තමයි මම මේ පැහැදිලි කරේ මේක right එළියට විකුණනවා නම් මේ external supplier එකෙන් ගන්න පුළුවන් නම් right. Now you have a variable cost of a product component X for the division A32, right? And outside market 42. So, and external supplier buy at 38. එතකොට මුකුත් restrictions නැති scenario එකක් යටතේ ගත්තොත් that means whatever the number of unit නැත්නම් අපි හිතමු there is only limited demand for the external market. දැන් මෙතනදී external supplier ට දෙන එක වාසීනේ. ඊට වාසී external supplier ට දෙන එක. Why? Variable cost 32, you can sell for 42. You can have a 10 contribution. A 10 add කරොත් loss නොවෙන්න නම් A should price at 42 to B, but B will not like to pay 42 because B can buy it from outside for 38. Right. So because of that, you can set the transfer price. So in this scenario, based on the resource availability, you can set, you can decide, okay, you can sell the entire production to external customer at 42 and ask B to buy from external supplier and sell it. Right. අපි මේකට පොඩි resource limitation එකක් දාලා activities කීපයක් කතා කරාම මතක ඇති. මේ activity එකේ තියෙන තොරතුරු ටිකනේ right. Based on the availability, right? ඒකේ summary එක මේ තියෙන්නේ. Right. මේක මම පොඩ්ඩක් වෙනස් කරා full capacity division A 1000 unit and capacity to produce X500 Y500 කියලා දාලා අපි ගානක් හැදුවා. ඊට පස්සේ maximum profit division A, there is only limited demand for X from external customer and extra capacity available. The current production එකේ X400 and sell to B and Y500 කියලා. ඊළඟට same එකේම අපි හැදුවා මේකේ variable cost, fixed cost තියෙනවා, selling price තියෙනවා, purchase price එක තියෙනවා. මේක further process කරනවා B. ඒ කියන්නේ A B ට දුන්නාම B එක further process කරලා විකුණනවා. එතකොට company එක පැත්තෙන් what should be the profit maximizing scenario? Right, maximum profit of the company if there is only limited demand for X and maximum profit limited demand. මෙන්න මේ activities ටික විශේෂයෙන් බලා ගන්න. Right, මේ activity 6 එක සහ ඒක මම modify කරලා හදපු activity 7 එක. Right. So you'll be getting a question, 10 marks question from transfer price. Transfer pricing 10 marks. Right. Then we had the relevant cost for short-term decision making. Relevant cost. Right. There we use your CVP knowledge, right? Cost volume profit analysis. එතනදී අපි කතා කරා relevant and irrelevant cost. So the relevant cost and revenue, those can be affected by a future decision. Irrelevant cost means that is not going to affect by a future decision. Sunk cost is an irrelevant cost because the cost already incurred and cannot be changed by a future decision. Opportunity cost is relevant, right? Opportunity cost is relevant for decision making. Value of the next best alternative for goal, right? Relevant for the decision making. Avoidable cost also relevant. If particular cost can be avoided by a decision, by a future decision, that is relevant. Cost that can be avoided by implementing a decision. Committed cost. Cost is already committed. That means not sunk, but you have committed, you cannot change it. Right? Already committed and cannot be changed. So it is irrelevant. And it is not only the cash flow cost, non-cash flow cost, right? Again, cash flow එකක් නොවුනත් සමහර cost relevant වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Then we had these simple activities to identify the relevant cost, opportunity cost, price to be charged. And you were given some scenarios and asked to identify whether the cost is relevant or irrelevant. Identify these costs: sunk, incremental, variable, fixed, semi-variable, semi-fixed, controllable, non-controllable, opportunity cost. We had some activities. Then profit maximization with the limiting factors. Right. Make it CVP. ඊළඟට අපි කතා කරා special order acceptance. Whether to accept a special order or dropping a loss-making product. So you have to calculate the profit based on the appropriate cost classification and the revenue classification. Then we had make or buy decision. That means whether we can produce it within the business or buy from the outside. Then sell at the present level or further process. Right? So the මේ ටිකට අපි activities ටිකක් කතා කරා. Relevant costing and the special decision making, short-term decision making. Can set 15-mark question. Then we had capital investment decisions, some advanced aspect, right? In a basic NPV, payback, ARR calculation නෙමෙයි. එතනින් එහාට the advanced aspects of capital investment decisions. So under that, we discussed the concept of IRR, internal rate of return. And internal rate of return normally, now this is the normal internal rate of return diagram. When the discount rate increases, NPV reduces. So there is a point that NPV becomes 0. That is, the discount rate at which NPV becomes 0 is the IRR. Right? In a conventional cash flow, normal project evaluation, initially cash outflow, thereafter cash inflow over the project period, we can have the IRR line, IRR based on the different NPVs like this. When the discount rate increases, NPV curve reduces. So there is a point at which NPV becomes 0, that is the IRR. But it is possible to have IRR curve like this. Non-conventional cash flows are there. Within the project period, there will be a minus cash flow. Again, not only a 0. Right? මේකට අපි කියනවා conventional cash flows තියෙනවා කියලා. Conventional. Right? ඒ කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය තත්ත්වය. Initial cash outflow and subsequently continuously cash inflows. This is where you have a non-conventional cash flows that result multiple IRR. Right? IRR තැන් දෙකක් එනවා. Right? More complicated scenario. Example එකකින් පෙන්නලා තියෙනවා. Then when you want to decide, you have different investments, the projects with different initial capital, and you have a capital rationing. That means you don't have enough resources to accept all positive NPV projects. We evaluate 10 projects. Out of them, 5 projects are positive NPV, but we don't have resources to accept all 5. Then which project we are going to apply, because we have different capital investment. Projects are not equal. If the project's initial capital investment is equal, you can select the high based on higher NPV. No? Every project you have to spend 10 million, and you have positive NPV 5 projects. So you take the projects with higher NPV. But here, one project 10 million, another project 5 million, another project 8 million, likewise. Then to evaluate which project that you need to invest, you have to calculate the profitability index. So NPV divided by the investment. Then you rank the project based on profitability index. So then based on your capital restriction, now you can go ahead with the available funds. Right. So when you are given the different projects, right, cash flows and NPV. So NPV divided by initial cash outflow. You get the profitability index. So you rank the project 2 highest. Then the project B 3.2, project C 2.4. So අපිට million 10යි නම් තියෙන්නේ, right? 5 and 5, these two projects you can invest. Which provide highest profitability index. The capital rationing, they limit the set of amount of funds available for the investment. ඒක soft rationing කියන්නේ imposed by the management. Management එක decide කරනවා next year එකේ අපේ capital investment budget එක we have a ceiling. Whatever the profitable project comes, right, we don't go beyond that. So එතනින් එහාට යනවා නම් අපිට fund raise කරන්න වෙනවා අලුතෙන්. That you have to change your capital structure of the business, right? The business එක may not like to change the capital structure, right? So you have a plan. There may be some planning to how to finance this project. So you have planned for 500 million project next year. The maximum capital project that you are undertaking 500 million. Even though you are getting a 200 million, another 200 million worthwhile project, you will not go. That is imposed by the management, soft ration. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපිට කොහොමදත් අපිට උපරිම ෆන්ඩ් හොයාගන්න තියෙන්නේ 500 million. Even though we are willing, we will not be able to finance them. The imposed by unavailability of the funds in the capital market. අපිට loans ගන්න බෑ එතනින් එහාට. Right? You have some restrictions. Right? You don't have the funds. Capital market funds unavailable. ඒකට කියනවා hard ratio. That අපි NPV calculate කරද්දී, you know these things. Only cash flows are relevant. The incremental basis you have to take the cash flows. Except in this project, what are the additional cash flows we have to go? We are going incurring or we are receiving. Inflation එක treatment එක consistent වෙන්න ඕනේ. That means if you are taking cash flows ignoring inflation, discounting factor also ignoring inflation, nominal cash flow, nominal discounting factor. Or you can take the cash flows by adjusting the discounting factor, the real cash flow. Then you have to use the real discount rate. And financing decision, you don't take into consideration the financing cash flows, right? To start a business, you borrow fund at a particular interest rate. That borrowed fund, but the interest part we don't consider for the as a cash outflow in the project, because that is captured within the cost of capital, discounting factor. Right? Cash flow are relevant. එතනද accounting income එක දීලා තියෙනවා නම් අපිට අර depreciation එහෙම add back කරලා ඒක cash flow එකට convert කරගන්න. Right? එතකොට working capital කියන එක අනිවාර්යයෙන් incorporate කරන්න ඕනේ. Working capital what additional working capital due to a project will be an outflow initially, and finally it will become inflow. Right? All incremental adjustments take into consideration. අපි මේකට examples කතා කරා. Forget the sunk cost. Allocated overhead ignore කරන්න වෙනවා. Right? Incremental overhead විතරක් ගන්න වෙනවා. Right. So මේකට අපි classroom activity එකක් කතා කරා, ලොකු activity එකක්. මේ cash flows හඳුනා ගන්න එකට අදාළ. Right. In comprehensive activity to identify the cash flows. මේක වගේ යම් කොටසක්. Right. එක cash flow identification එකක් NPV calculation එකට අදාළව එන්න පුළුවන්. Right. Then inflation එක, right? When you are using the nominal cash flows, the cash flows is the make අපිට real cash flows දීලා ඒක nominal cash flow වලට convert කරන්න තියෙනවා. Right? ඒ විදිහට ගත්තොත් nominal discounting factor nominal cash flows ගන්න. or real discounting factor නම් දීලා තියෙන්නේ discounting factor එක real කරන්නේ 1 minus nominal discount rate අපි 15% discounting factor එක 1.15 divide by inflation rate say 1.1. From that minus 1 you will get the real discount rate. අපි නිකන් ගත්තොත් discount nominal discounting factor 15%, inflation rate 10%. So 1.15 divided by 1.5. Now 1.0505. Right. Okay, අඩු කරනවා 1. percentage එකක් විතර ගත්තොත් here you get 4.54. We got the nominal discounting factor එක 20යි. Inflation එක 10යි නා. අපිට එනවා 1.0909 මේකෙන් 1 අයින් කරාම 9.09. That's the real discounting factor. Right. මේ දෙපැත්තට adjust කරලා අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. Consistent report. ඔය විදිහට ගත්තත් ඒ කියන්නේ nominal cash flow base කරලා හෙව්වත් real cash flow කරලා හෙව්වත් අපිට එකම NPV එක එනවා. Then when you are selecting investment decisions with now sometimes there will be a project you can start today or you can start after 1 year, you can start after 2 years, after 3 years, likewise different time intervals. Timing decision, what is the best timing you should go for the project? Right. එතනදී අපිට සිද්ධ වෙනවා අර අනාගතේ අපිට NPV එනවා net future value එක කියලා අපි ඔකට කියන්නේ. මොකද මේ තියෙන්නේ year 1 වල invest කරාම ඉදිරි අවුරුදු ගානේ project එක discount කරලා year 1 වලට එන value එක. Right? ඉතින් year 2 වලට invest කරාම එන future value එක. Now you can't compare these no. මෙතන මේ ටික ආපහු discount කරන්න. present value එකට ගේන්න ඕන ඔක්කොම. ඒතර මේ තියෙන net present value එක. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ අවුරුද්දකට පස්සේ පටන් ගන්නවා නම් ඒක අද වටිනාකමෙන් 585ක් NPV එක. දැන් අපිට පේනවා මේක fourth year එක තමයි most highest NPV එක අපිට එන්නේ. Timing, the best timing is the fourth year based on NPV. However, there's a risk that when you are postponing a project, one is that project may not be available, right? In the future, you supposed to uncertainty. මේ project එක තව අවුරුදු 3කින් 4කින් නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට අද කරොත් 500ක් හම්බෙන එක 680 ගන්න ගිහිල්ලා ඒක නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අනිත් එක තමයි now when you take fourth year, මෙතනින් එහාට අපි project period 5 years කියලා. From year 0 we estimate the cash flows over 5 years. Next 5 years. When you take the fourth year starting the project, from that another 5 years means 9th year. So your estimations are far away, so that the accuracy is questionable, right? So that you can more reliably you can estimate the cash flows close to the current year. When you estimate the cash flow of year 5, the reliability is less compared with estimating the cash flows of year 1. When you take the cash flows of year 9, the reliability further reduces. So uncertainty of change in those cash flows high. So as a result, the accuracy of this NPV is less compared with the accuracy of these two, right? So අට පුළුවන් වෙනවා right. මේ financially බලපුවාම මේක fourth year කියන එක තමයි හොඳ, right? හැබැයි මේ decision එකේ මේ postpone කිරීම නිසා එන adverse impact එක මොකක්ද? right? මේකේ තියෙන issues in your decision, right? Rather than accepting it in today and postponing the project based on the highest NPV, right? We have two main issues. One is the project may not be available, right? And when you postpone, some of your competitor might take that project, right? The other one is you have to estimate the cash flows far away. So the uncertainty of those cash flows is high. So the accuracy is less, reliability less. Right. So ඒකට අපි හදපු activity එකක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට අපි ඒක මෙතනට ගේනකොට අර annuity factor එකෙන් adjust කරලා ගේන්න ඕනේ. Right? Equivalent annual cost කියන එක annuity factor එකත් එක්ක adjust කරපු එක. Right? ඔය part එක mainly consider වෙනවා එතන. Capital investment decisions අපි කතා කරන්නේ advance aspect. අපිට පුළුවන් ලකුණු 15 question. Then we had standard costing and variance analysis. The standard costing is a predetermined planned cost of a product for a future period. And when you set a standard cost, you have to first set the standard for each unit, right? Standard cost for each component like material, labor, overhead. Then compare standard with the actual. Then we have to analyze and you have to investigate and take the appropriate actions. The standard cost card එක සාමාන්‍ය direct material, labor, overhead, fixed and variable විදිහට ඒකත් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් බෙදෙනවා. So when you compare actual with the standard, we can identify the variance. The variances broadly material variances two categories. Total direct material variance, එහෙම නැත්නම් direct material cost variance කියන්න පුළුවන් මේකට. That is due to material price or material usage. Material price variance, material usage variance. Formula direct material variance, actual price into actual quantity divide minus standard price into standard quantity. Then price variance, actual price minus standard price into actual quantity. Usage, actual quantity minus standard quantity into standard price. Then the labor variance, we have the labor cost variance, total labor cost variance. And then total direct labor variance කියන්න පුළුවන්. Labor වල price එකට කියනවා labor rate variance කියලා, labor වල volume එකට කියනවා efficiency variance. So direct labor variance total එක බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඊපස්සේ labor rate variance and labor efficiency variance. Then the overhead, variable and fixed, two categories. Variable overhead expenditure and variable overhead efficiency. Then fixed overhead, total fixed overhead and fixed overhead volume and efficiency. ඊළඟට sales වලට ගියාම sales variances ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් sales price, sales margin price variance and sales margin volume variance. Two sales variances. Right? මේකේ අපි ලොකු activity එකක් හැදුවා. Right? මේ activity එක හොඳට practice කරොත් variance වල question එක attempt කරන්න පුළුවන්. It's also for 15 marks. Then we had last week budgeting. Budgeting වල අපි කතා කරා main functional budgets, right? Basic budgeting approaches, alternative approaches for the difference budget, right? Incremental budget, zero-based budget, activity-based budget. Then the budgeting process. And the functional budget. The sales budget is most easiest one based on examination context, but practically most difficult one. Here, when the sales unit forecast is given, right? So අපිට price එකකින් වැඩි කරලා අපිට sales budget එක හදා ගන්න පුළුවන් cash sales, credit sales base කරලා. Quite easy. Then production budget එක හොයද්දී sales requirement එකට opening closing stock adjust කරලා අපිට පුළුවන් production එක හොයාගන්න. ඊළඟට material based on the production, you can have the material usage. ඒකට material opening closing stock adjust කරලා අපිට material purchase budget එක හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්. Then the labor, you can just multiply it by the production. Based on the production, the labor hour requirement multiplied by the labor rate. Overhead, based on the absorption rate, you can calculate it. Then non-manufacturing overhead, each line item should be given, right? We have to just calculate it. So to make a examination context එකේ ලොකුවට හදන්න වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ cash budget කියන. Right? Different sources, how to have the cash budget. Then budgeted income statement, by considering all these income and expenses accrual basis. Right? මේ දෙකේ වෙනසක් වෙනවා cash budget එකේදී cash basis යන්නේ. ඊළඟට budgeted income statement එකේදී accrual basis ගන්න. Right? exam එකට බොහෝ වෙලාවට මේක cash budget එක වුණත් ඕන එක period එකට අහන්න පුළුවන්. කියන්නේ quarter එකට තොරතුරු දුන්නොත් cash budget for also for quarter, statement income statement also for the quarter. Right? මොකද මේක වෙන වෙනම බැලුවයි කියලා ලොකු වෙනසක් නොවෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? ඒක බලමු මේ විදිහට එකම දේ අර collection වලදී වගේ පොඩි adjustment එකක් තියෙනවා. Right? Anyway, you better practice this cash budget for the 3 months period as well. Right? මම decide කරන්නම් ලකුණු ගානත් එක්ක බලලා කොහොමද මේක මාස 3කට වගේ දෙන්න පුළුවන්ද නැත්නම් ඒකත් එකතු කරලා දෙනවද කියලා. Budgeted income statement. Right? And I will not test budgeted balance sheet. Right? Examination context, this will not be tested. මොකද අපි අර සමහර functional budget උත් එක්ක budget එකේ theory part එකත් එක්ක budgeting වලට will allocate 20 marks. එතන බෙදලා තියෙනවා ලකුණු 125කට. So you will get 5 questions, each count for 25 marks. You have to answer 4 out of 5. Right? 25 5ක් තියෙනවා. 4කට ලියන්න. එතකොට මේකේ හුඟක් වෙලාවට මේ 10යි 15යි questions mix කරන්න පුළුවන්. මෙන්න මේ budgeting එකේ 20ක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට මෙන්න මේ එක ලකුණු 15ක question එක සමහර වෙලාවට ඒක කෑලි කඩන්න පුළුවන් පොඩි parts තියෙනවනේ. එතකොට ඒක 15 10යි 5යි විදියට කඩලා mix වෙන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් උදාහරණ ගත්තොත් relevant costing කියන එකේ අර cost classification part එක ලකුණු 5ක් වෙනම අහලා ඊටු 10 වෙනම අහන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක දැන් දෙකකට link වෙන්න පුළුවන්. right? ඊළඟට ඕනනම් මේ strategic cost management වලත් අපිට පුළුවන් මේක ඕනනම් 5යි කෑලි දෙකකට 5යි 10යි කෑලි දෙකකට set කරන්න. right? මොකද ඒක ඇතුලේ පොඩි පොඩි parts තියෙන නිසා. got the point? Somehow it will be tested as 5 questions. One question carry 25 marks or 5 questions altogether for 125 marks. You will get questions. You have to answer 4 out of 5. Final examination එකේ ලකුණු 100කට එන්න එක 60 convert වෙනවා. right? අපි මේක පොඩ්ඩක් තව ස්පෙસિෆික් කරොත් අපිට පුළුවන් මේක වගේ හදාගන්න. decision tree එකත් එක්ක අපිට මේ දෙක දාන්න පුළුවන් වගේනේ. right? එක question එකක් විදිහට ලකුණු 25කට ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ divisional performance and transfer pricing එකත් කෙලින්ම question එකක් විදියට කපල් කරන්න පුළුවන් එක topic එක. ලකුණු 25ක් විදියට. relevant costing short term decision making එක strategic cost management වල ලකුණු 10ක් set කරන්න. Right. standard costing එකයි ABC එකයි එකට link කරන්න. Right. ඔය වගේ question 5. Right. ඉන්නේ නේ අපේ. Item. Here now you have the 5 questions, right? ගන්න ලකුණු 25ට හදලා තියෙනවා. Decision tree and capital investment decision advanced 25 marks. Right? Then the divisional performance and transfer pricing 25 marks. The relevant cost and standard cost, short-term decision making and strategic cost management. එතන strategic cost management වල ලකුණු 10ක් එක්ක 25 marks. Standard costing and variance analysis and activity-based costing and management another 25 marks. Finally, strategic cost management වල තව ලකුණු 5ක් එක්ක budgeting 25. Right? For the strategic cost management වල there are so many areas, right? So 5 marks tested, separated 8 marks. With the payment start. Now you can decide whether you are going to answer 4 out of 5 or 4 out of 4. Right? That means someone is not, someone give up particular topic, right? You are not prepared, right? If you prepare only for 100 marks, those topics, then you know that you have to answer 4 out of 4. Right? Not 5 out of 4. What each option you have to get ready for what topics. Right? And thereafter, even if you are missing some topics, right? So then you know that you have only 90 marks to answer. You have only 80 marks to answer, right? If you are giving up any topic from preparation, so you know how many, either you will lose the option or you will lose some marks, right? Yes, any question? You are about the presentation. Right. So the next week presentation PowerPoint 20 marks, and today the deadline for individual assignment that also PowerPoint 20 marks. Right? And we have one more session after next week. So I will have some model questions. We can't have full model paper, right? So for our discussion, we can't have a full model paper. But I will have some areas where that we have one more question, right? It is better, right? Some kind of model questions, right? For certain topics, especially something like the theoretical area that I'm not going to have the model question, you know, right? Basically, you ask the theory question, right? So basically some of the calculation questions, right? Some kind of model questions, right? So basically focusing the required knowledge from examination perspective, right? So you may not get the same question in the examination, but the knowledge is important, right? So you have some type of few model questions, right? ඒ question එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉස්සලා attempt කරන්නත් right දැන් practice it right මම පොඩි වෙලාවක් දෙනවා practice කරන්න කියලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ හදන්න හරි right එතකොට B after next නේ මේ අන්තිම question එක හරි so next week presentation after that you better start the preparation for the exam right because I don't think that you don't have much time for study also right after the 11 week, then I think 1 week after 1 week we have the test, right? He said announce the date. Then date that in there. Yeah, that we didn't end it. Understanding, thank you. What others want to say? What did you? Right. And this one, both are right? Politics and law and management, corporate. Boy. So that means there are some subjects to like study, right? Memorize, right? Calculation subjects name in the law, that's right? No calculation. And auditing that was no calculation. Calculation is on the technical, right? Over calculation part of it. Or jump part of the into one right? Some other areas, right? Not this much, right? So you need more time for studying your subject. So you better finish this earlier, right? You work out the sums and practice it, right? So after next week, during that week, you get prepared, right? So then we have these model questions. If you attempt only, you can realize whether you can answer the question, right? Otherwise, if you are going to answer the question first time in the examination, that won't help, right? Mistakes high band unregulated level courses, optional course, or revision, right? Have a limited time period, take the series thereafter the examination. But you have to practice, right? That's why I'm having final session and allocated for the model questions. That also you better practice between that week and half. Then only that session will be very useful, right? Okay, so with that we can wind up today's session and give you the lunch break. Okay, so next week presentation, right? So make sure those who are joining online also be there in the time to be make available with your group to make your presentation, right?